I just found this link. I'm going to send it to you, Tyler, to pull it up. Very interesting. So this guy's apparently a rapper, is what he is.
Oh, beef.
Yeah. So he's a rapper. In 2020, he did a song about Chappelle, and he also said, "Trump is my president. Leave him alone," in a rap song. So pull up the link. So I'm actually curious now.
Hey, Pat, did you see Chris Rock right there walk up on stage after?
Yeah, look at that.
Will Smith?
Yeah, Chris Rock said, was that Will Smith?
Exactly. By the way, you know,
but he had to do that. I mean, listen, Chris, that's like a perfect opportunity for him to get up there. But just so you guys know, all of these events that Chris Rock is at, it's preparing him to get a $100 million Netflix special
100%.
in the next few months. And I'm promising you, they're working on something right now. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, this guy's 23 years old. So he's only been born and raised on social media, right?
Keep going up.
Since social media has been really 10 years strong, maybe a little bit longer with Facebook, but I'm talking like the Instagrams of the world, 10 years strong. So that's all he's ever known. But Matt, you touched on something, the blurred lines between, it used to be a very clear distinction between that is a celebrity, they're on stage, that is who we watch, and I'm just a regular old person watching. Now, I don't know, you touched on because it's COVID, lockdowns, homes, on your phone, like all these blurred lines of like, yeah, I could just roll up on Mike Tyson and talk shit. Right.
I
could just run up on stage with Dave Chapelle. I'm a rapper.
Right.
I've got a social media. I'm a person.
I'm famous too.
I'm famous too. It's like, buddy, there are clear distinctions between a Mike Tyson and a Dave Chapelle and your clown ass.
Well, the difference between these two things, Tyson in this case, I mean, this guy attacked him with a knife. This
Correct.
was obviously some kind of, beef the guy had with Chappelle, and he wanted to, stick him.
But it's more
Here's
the
thing, though.
mentality.
This was a fake knife.
Was it?
This is not.
No, it was a fake gun.
Fake gun
with a knife within it, something like that.
Yeah. So if you look at the picture right there, that's LAPD HQ, and the rest has been an incident where a comedian was attacked while on
That's a weird way to
comedian
hide
was
a blade.
attacked. They're not even naming the comedian, and a comedian was attacked while on stage at Hollywood Bowl. Isaiah Lee was charged with assault with a deadly weapon, and bail is set $30,000. So if you go a little lower, and you'll see what he says. If you go a little lower, that's the clip. Go below the video. And it says, I think above that. Yeah, go above that right there. So little higher. Okay, Lee's song that is specifically titled Dave Chapelle was released in 2020. It's on that song where Lee raps, "Laugh at You" as a joke. And then Lee has another song defending former President Donald Trump with lyric included MAGA my N-word. An open-ended question, why is everybody always hating on my president? Interesting. And then no TV show. So and then Joy Behar, if you go a little lower, said Joy Behar and Sonny Hostin blame Trump for Dave Chappelle getting attacked on stage, which is obviously, it's of course Trump's fault.
Right.
They claim he got into the minds of the entire population. It didn't happen before. Behar insisted Sonny had it, but I think Trump unleashed some incivility in our country. There you have it. By the way, do you think this is going to become a movement and more of this stuff's going to happen? Like, do you think somebody's looking at there saying, this is a playbook, I'm going to do this as well?
100%. I mean, and I'm going to look, I've been pretty clear. I didn't think that what the Will Smith slap represented was way worse than the actual slap. A man slapped another man. Chris Rock took it like a G, said, all right, I'll leave Jay to okay, cool. But just imagine if this guy who actually brought a knife on stage legitimately stabbed Dave Chapelle, and Dave Chapelle was in the hospital now, because Dave Chapelle was very quick to joke, hey, thanks, we got Jamie Foxx here with a cowboy hat, everyone needs a Jamie Foxx. Imagine if Dave Chapelle was in the hospital right now. The overall sentiment in the country would be like, holy shit, you brought up the Will Smith thing, right? That's obviously what came to mind. A person rushed the stage and attacked a comedian or a celebrity or an icon. But imagine if Chappelle is actually in the hospital now, or God forbid, imagine if he died. What would the mood of the entire country be? Would everyone be on pause and be like, what the hell is happening right now, guys? What is happening right now?
No.
Thank God Dave Chappelle is okay. But this guy had a legitimate knife. Imagine if it was a gun.
Right.
And he just, boom, shot him. And that's how Dave Chappelle went out. It's a very, very scary situation.
Yeah, so a couple of things I think about. Number one, how the hell did that guy get in there with the gun and the knife? That's number one. So security is one to blame. What kind of security do you have with all these celebrities being there? Like, What are you thinking with security? That's
In
number one. So
Hollywood,
accountability.
nonetheless.
Yeah, so number one accountability to me is who put this thing together? Who was your security? Let's hold the security accountable on how they got in. What was the infrastructure for somebody like that to get in? Number two, you know how in 9/11 happened, TSA comes right after 9/11.
Oh.
In November, we have TSA, right? 2 months after 9/11, we have TSA. But back in the days, you can just go, hey, mom, she comes out of the gate, and you see her at the gate.
People would
Now we
forget
can't-
that you
Yeah.
could literally go to someone's gate,
Just 30 years
greet
ago.
them after.
Just 20 years ago.
My grandma would come
Yeah.
meet me off the plane
Yeah.
when I was a kid, 12 years old.
And that event like this changes. So you got a good point there. Now think about it this way: how much different would this experience be if talent now said, you know how back in the days Van Halen would say, "Here's how we'll do it. This is what we want in our contract. If you don't have this, we won't show up." And they used to say they had this thing with the M&Ms that they wanted specific types of M&Ms, and multiple times if you didn't follow the contract to the T, they would leave because they said you didn't follow our contract and you're still liable to pay us. So they had a contract. Now imagine if comedians say, "Hey, I won't perform until you put a fence up or you put something up that I feel safer." Imagine we get to that point. Okay. Now, if a comedian asks for that, say first comedian asks for that. That's what I want to do. I don't feel safe. The craziness that's going on, here's what I expect. Then that creates a trend. So that becomes the next TSA of what happened after 9/11. Thank God nothing happened here. But you have the guy that pulls up to Tyson. You have the guy that pulls up to him. You have the guy that's... And FYI, Dave Chapelle has a crew around him, and they destroyed him.
That guy's lucky he wasn't beat to death.
He's lucky he's not beat to death. But there's a part that's actually good that happened to set the tone for everybody else. However, how many people have Chappelle's size of entourage? Not many
Nobody.
people. Does a younger comedian that's getting up, so you know how you go to comedy and some guy takes a shot at you, it's like, "Oh, who are you? You look like you're Middle Eastern." Let me guess. You have a 750 BMW parked outside, right? And you have a lot of money. Odds are that car is stolen. Papa, these comedians say these types of jokes.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? If Will Smith up, I'm going to get up and then I'm going to go out. And so then this younger comedian that's coming up, it's like, dude, I'm just role playing with the guests that are here. Now he gets something happening to him. So he doesn't have that kind of protection. He doesn't have a big entourage. He's coming up. So bigger guy may be protected, but the younger guy coming up may not be protected. So the games change a little bit. I'm very curious to know what these bigger comedy clubs are going to do to make their comedians feel safe.
But I would make the argument that somebody that's not as big as Chappelle doesn't have a reason to be gone after. Like the younger guy who's just coming up. I mean, if you listen, I think this is a one-off. People want to go after Chappelle because he's a lightning rod, right? He's always in the news. If you're a young comedian and you're going to this guy's show, you're not going to beat him up. You're going there to laugh. You know what I mean?
I hope you're right.
And yes, I don't necessarily disagree with what Adam's saying, but I think there's so much to be said for what you said, Pat, that this guy got the snot beat out of him.
Yeah.
Like he's lucky he wasn't beaten to death.
Well, listen, that's what happens in life sometimes.
Yeah, if people see this and they think about going up on stage and then they look at this guy, I think they're going to think twice.
But I also think that my mind's going someplace else with this. It's making it about yourself when it has nothing to do with you. This reminds me of like the streakers who come on, run on the field during the Super Bowl or during the World Cup. This guy, Steve will do it or whatever, the Nelk Boys or whatever they did. It wasn't that guy who did the Super Bowl thing. One of those guys. But you're making it about yourself. You know that there's a lot of eyes on you, drawing attention, and you're saying, this is my time. I have an opportunity to get my name in the news. I have an opportunity to put myself into the atmosphere that all the eyeballs are looking at me, and you're making it about yourself. It's ego driven, and the lines are blurred because you have a public profile now. That's a whole nother thing. Don't get me started on when you go onto someone's Instagram profile and it's public figure.
Yeah.
It's like, buddy, you're
Always
like,
that.
unless you're a famous actor, famous politician, you are not a public figure. I'm sorry. But this mentality, this is my biggest concern. This mentality that like, I deserve the eyeballs. Dude, Dave Chapelle deserves the eyeballs. He's the greatest comedian living right now, in my opinion.
It's been going on for a while.
Okay.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.